Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's get right into the stock market technical analysis. I've got some really interesting things to point out, and we've got some key levels in play this morning. So I definitely want to get into those, show you guys what I got going on. And a little overhead, guys. I am out of town this weekend, and I will not be doing the live stream for members. So just to let you guys know about that. And then on Monday, likely I will not be putting out a video, only doing community posts and member posts. Okay, I'll be back on Tuesday with the videos. Finally, if you guys haven't taken the stock market technical analysis course, take that course. That's going to be your prep work. That's going to give you the skill set to look for the charts and understand trade setups before they trigger. This morning, I'm seeing a lot of trades kind of trigger, but this course is going to give you the skill set to really find your own setups, okay? Do your homework before the things trigger. Don't wait for my videos to come out because a lot of the opportunity is lost by the time the videos come out. So that course is going to give you that skill set. Check that out. Link in the description below. It's not free, but I did price it affordable. It's there for your use. So take advantage of that if you haven't done so. Next up, guys, if you haven't joined the membership, I think you should join that. There's a lot of value there. I've already made probably 5 or 6 posts this morning. That's an area where I can respond a lot quicker on trade setups, trade triggers, things that I'm seeing play out in the morning. I can respond there really quickly. And so I've already posted a bunch of stuff there. So that maybe will give you guys a little bit more real-time, setups or trade triggers. Join that. There should be a join button next to the subscribe button or, the old subscribe button. Or if you check out the description below, there should be a link to join up on that. It's $5 a month. All right. It's basically, I price that affordable too, guys. Not trying to just completely make a killing here on YouTube. A little bit helps, kind of extra spending money, but at the end of the day, it's not really my main income. So check that out. A lot of value there I think I'm providing. So okay, let's get into the charts. Triple Qs, couple things in play. Now, they're not, fully there yet, but definitely in play. Okay, on Triple Qs, I'm going to go, we'll start off on the daily. Again, this is the downtrend line that the Triple Qs has been in, all right? You can see it right here. I've got 1, 2 reactions. Recently, we overshot that right in here, but this overshoot came with negative divergence on the hourly chart. If I zoom down to the hourly, you'll see there's the negative divergence, pretty much cleanly in play on the RSI and the PPO. Okay, so that told me that this move up here, this price action, and it was a really grindy price action. We're just kind of spiking on really low volume, new highs. Bulls felt extremely bullish, but sure enough, boom, there it is today, gapping down, and so far selling down. If you go to the daily chart here, that puts this as a bull trap in place. So there's the trend line, and we're back below it right now. All right, so bull trap in play up here. Let's see how we hold, let's see how we close out the day. All right, do the bulls come in and step in and say, no, this is going to hold, and we're going to rally from here like that? I suspect no, because those divergences are intact. And then bears are saying, okay, this up here was a bull trap. We had negative divergence, and we're going to fail and head lower down to my preferred target right now, which is right about here. And if I get rid of this red line here, then you'll see that it's right there. All right, right now it's about 302. It's an ascending trend line, so each day it gets higher, but we're about 302 on the preferred target. And where we're at right now, that's a move of about 6-7% from right now. From the highs up here, that's a move of about 10%. So that's what we're looking at for this next move. I like it. I think it's in play. If you go to the weekly chart, the larger time frame, again, and I got to clean this up a little just to show you, you'll see that basically this trend line, which is the bear market trend, the series of lower highs and lower lows, so really is in play right here. And you can see last week we closed above it just briefly right there, nothing much. This week, intra-week, we were above it, cleanly above it, but as right now, you can see it looks like they're rejecting that, and we're going to be back below it. So we need to see how the day closes. Maybe they'll close it right on the trend line and keep everyone guessing. That's likely. Or maybe they just sell this thing down and it is a clean and clear rejection leading into next week, which would likely set us up for the move down to that target that I have. Okay. Another thing in play is Apple. So I did point out in the membership this morning, Apple was the last holdout before the market really had this big move down in January and really the first part of the year. Apple was kind of your last holdout. It waited and it didn't sell off. Finally, it broke. All the other FANG stocks had kind of broke their trend line support, and then finally Apple broke, and that was it for the market. There was no strength. And it kind of looks like that's in play too. Apple's been one of the strongest stocks in this rally, which I still believe is a bear market rally. And on the weekly chart, you can see we have this downtrend line right here. Look what's going on right now. Intra week, we were above the trend line, but boom, back below it as of right now. Okay, going to the daily chart, you can see we're back below that trend line. Now, Apple has support right about here at about 161.80, 162. The 200-day moving average is right there on the daily, and you have this ascending trend line. So that's probably where the buyers will stage a counter. That's where they're going to step in most likely, at least to fight this downtrend. So we'll probably get down there. I do think we're going to head down there and then maybe get a bounce. We'll see how that works, but I do think we're heading down there at least in the short term. Small caps, IWM. The main thing here that I just want to point out is the fact that we've been trading below the 200-day for the last 3 days. So we were above it, closed barely above it here, closed barely above it here, closed barely above it right there. 3 days barely above it. But when those closes above the 200-day came with negative divergence on the hourly. Let me flip down to that. Clean and clear negative divergence on the hourly that had been building for a while. And sure enough, back below it and moving lower. So again, this was in the charts and we just had to wait for it, and it was kind of obvious a little bit, the fact that I had a lot of retail traders, a lot of people commenting on my videos that I hadn't seen comments from in quite a while. So clearly these were bulls that had ridden the move all the way down and were kind of out for revenge, I think, on this bear market rally, thinking, oh, we got this guy now. We'll see. Nothing says I'm right yet, but so far it's looking good. SPY. On the SPY, let's see, we go to the hourly. Couple things on the SPY. So if I look at the hourly, look, you got support, 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 sell signal, breakdown. Okay, that came with negative divergence. There it is on both momentum indicators. Guys, take the course if you haven't taken it. This is going to give you this, it's going to give you the eye for the charts. You're going to, and you can go back and watch the course, but it's going to help you really focus in on the things to look for in these setups before they show up. All right, link in the description below. There's your sell signal as of right now. This is just an hourly chart, so, the day is young, but so far it's a sell signal. I suspect we continue to drift down towards this gap fill, 411. We're not going to get there today, but I think we probably continue to drift sideways to down. Looking at the daily chart here on the SPY, you can see there's your sell signal. Now you want to see this sell off, more impulsively. So let's look for more selling into the day. I suspect at least sometime today they'll try to stage some sort of a little counter trend bounce to make it look like this breakdown is going to recover, and then it probably sells off into the close. All right, that's kind of how I'm thinking it plays out today. Trapping the bulls for bigger move next week for the downside. On the SPY, I think we head down here right now about 390-ish. That's this uptrend line. So again, that's kind of what I got going on from most of the indices, is a move down to these trend line supports, and then we'll see from down. Okay, some short trade ideas there. So LLY. Again, this morning, right off the bat, boom, pump it right into resistance. Just another back test of this trend line resistance. That's 2 tests now. I suspect we're going to fail here pretty soon, but, we'll see. And we'll just, got to see how it plays out. You can see they're just slightly above it, but I think it fails. Looking at the daily chart here, bearish rising wedge, okay, breakdown, and a sell signal. This breakdown came with big negative divergence on the daily chart. So this to me is likely the final test. I thought maybe a couple days ago was, but look, back test 1, back test 2, nothing's technically changed. This is objective area to short for the move down, all right? Doesn't mean it's going to work, but it's objective. It's a low risk area to take a trade to the downside. Okay, MELI. I've been talking about this one for a couple weeks now as a potential island cluster reversal top, and I think we got that in play. So here's the trade. You've got an island cluster top right here. You've got a gap. So this is what created started to create the island. There's a gap up, and as of this morning, we've got a little gap down. Okay, it's not a big gap, but it's definitely a gap there. So going down to the hourly chart, you'll notice that there's a gap right here. As long as we don't fill that gap, we should continue lower. Okay, so that's the trade. I'd probably just stop out. If you fill the gap, maybe give it a little room, but I'd just stop out somewhere around $1,000 or so. If it, and it's a higher price thing, but again, price doesn't matter. It's all about percentages. Just, buy the amount of shares that you have relative to your position sizing. But again, it's not about, what I'm saying there is you don't have to buy 100 shares, buy 10 shares, buy 5 shares, buy the same amount that you'd buy for any other position size. That makes sense. Okay, so there's your gap down. I think we float lower or continue lower. Looking at the daily chart, negative divergence right here on the daily. So all this gap up was divergent highs. And that's what I kept saying. Look for the gap down, the island cluster reversal. And this should move us down to about 635.32. Okay, again, there's a downtrend to watch on the daily chart. So there it is, clean and clear downtrend. And look, boom, we're back below the trend. This was a bull trap. This island cluster top looked like a bull trap. Should be pretty impulsive to the downside. I think we head down here pretty quickly, 635-ish. So I'm short this one as of right now. And again, just, I kind of pointed out where I'd look to stop out at. Tesla. So Tesla's not fully in play yet, but, I suspect if Apple continues to sell off, Tesla's going to have a pretty big move to the downside as well. So on Tesla, you've got negative divergence on the daily chart, kind of marked out right here. I've been talking about that. Boom. So that was a divergent high. Had this little bit of an uptrend right here that we broke. If I go to the hourly, you'll see that basically clean divergence right there on the hourly, and you'll see that we basically broke trend, back test 1, back test 2, back test 3, failing. So we should fail now. I really think we should fail, start to take out these lows and make that downtrend move. So I would look for, really look for these lows, this level right here to get taken out as the next confirmation to the downside. It's about 839.30. That gets taken out, it's probably going to be obvious we should continue lower. And that's where I think this is heading. Amazon. So again, Amazon, you've got, last couple weeks have been drifting higher, but making negative divergence on the daily. If I look at the PPO here, you can see we've got this bearish crossover right there. Boom, that's bearish. If I go down to the hourly, negative divergence here on the hourly chart, pretty obvious on that one. You can see it right there like that. Negative divergence on both momentum indicators. And we're starting to kind of break and drift lower. Nothing super impulsive yet, but, starting to. And if you look at the daily, though, again, below the 200, we had that one little spike right there above the 200-day right there, but it still closed below the 200. So, a little more work to be done, obviously, on this one. There's a big gap to fill on Amazon. So I think if we're going to head lower, we're probably going to, the buyers will likely step in on this gap as the first level. Also, island cluster top reversal pattern in play as well. If we see a gap down, then that would create this as an island cluster top. So maybe that shows up, maybe it doesn't. We'll see. For as bullish as the market's been, or at least as bullish as everyone thought it's been, if you've been shorting Amazon, kind of how I've been shorting it, it's profitable. I'm up about 2% on this trade. As we traded up into the 200, looked like an objective area to short. Doesn't mean it's going to remain profitable because, again, more work to be done here, but we'll see how this plays out. You can see Apple starting to kind of continue to sell off a little bit. So, again, things are working, at least as of today. going back to the triple Qs, it really is going to depend on how we close the day. Do we close at the trend line about 325.75, or do we clean and clearly reject, putting in that bull trap? I suspect, I don't know about today, but I suspect again here in the near future we continue lower down to about this 302, 301.50 target, somewhere right in there, 303. It depends on when we get there. Gold, just continuing lower, guys. So at the end of the day, I think we're probably, we've got this trend line here. I'm just not super hot on gold right now. So maybe this down 1725, possibly down to the 1680. The miners continuing to kind of drift lower. Again, maybe this back test around 24 could be the target or an area of support. So we'll keep an eye on these. They're not very constructive charts. They're kind of stuck in the mud a little bit. And so again, I'll just keep an eye on them for good setups. Oil is, looks like it's continuing to rally. You can see here on the hourly charts, oil futures continuing to rally. So oil looks bullish, guys. Oil looks bullish in general, and we're probably going to continue higher on oil, which should continue to put the Fed in play for rate hikes. Lennar, I've talked about this one as a potential trade, actionable trade, and you've got this uptrend line here. You've got negative divergence on both momentum indicators. We had a sell signal 2 days ago, and it's continuing to drift lower, gapping down today and kind of holding that gap. Look for the selling to intensify. So that's the thing. Usually when you start a downtrend, and I'll wrap up with this. Usually when you start a downtrend, especially after a long sustained uptrend, it kind of starts, you'll start to trap money in, but it'll kind of start slower, because at the end of the day, you've got a lot of people who don't realize the trend is changing. So they don't get out yet, and the trend will intensify in whichever direction it's heading. In this case, down. It will intensify the more time and the more that you continue lower. More and more people realize, okay, this is this is the end of the trend. We got to get out, bail, and then the late to the party people start panic selling because they're taking on losses, and it just all kind of piles on and starts to intensify. So look for us to kind of drift lower, and then there will become a moment where basically everyone realizes that, okay, the trend is the uptrend is over and it's time to get out, and that's when you'll start to see the bigger moves in what we got going on to the downside here. So I'm gonna wrap up here, guys. Drop me a thumbs up if anything changes. I don't know if I'll get a video out by the end of the day. I've got a flight to catch late this evening, and just with getting ready and everything. So I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.